Have they made progress with the strike?
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer's strike, that's some dirty shit. They cross the picket line.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Mean behind the scenes. The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And everybody, whoa.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
Quoting this directly from the Post's, Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, that she consumed human flesh. Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. You know, flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records.
Who will eat pizza if I... Jennifer? Yes? Harrison? Yes? Mark? All right.
Ellen DeGeneres has been...
For years, Ellen DeGeneres was sold to America as the queen of kindness. The dancing, the giveaways, the celebrity games, the emotional surprises, in every episode ending with the same message: be kind to one another. But then came one awkward live TV moment that felt different. It wasn't a lawsuit, it wasn't a leaked recording, it wasn't even an angry confrontation. It was one guest sitting across from Ellen, calmly correcting her in front of the audience. Dakota Johnson didn't yell. She didn't attack. She simply said, "That's not the truth, Ellen." And suddenly, millions of viewers started asking the same question. Was Ellen's kindness real, or was it just a carefully built character?
War criminals, her and Bush are jumping around. I mean,
that's right, she was buddies with Bush. That was like
she's
one of the
a
first
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock, and do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning? Ellen.
Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling? How are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to look. What the hell's going on? This is a daytime show.
Which is the Paddock guy? And there's two guys there?
The chubbier guy is the Jesus guy. And now Ellen is doing a thing of how the shooting happened.
Look how she's got like an antenna from someone's Buick that she's popped off and she's using it as a pointer.
But why the hell is this happening on like a daytime show where this is weird?
Where'd she get that pointer?
I don't know. She stole it off an intern's car.
Why wouldn't you just use your finger? Like, if that was you, if it was your show, the Tim Dillon show, wouldn't you just point?
Yeah.
This is also a giant screen behind her, so they could have just put it on that screen.
So, but she's using this thing. I find it very strange. I don't know why.
Wait a minute, those aren't real palm trees?
No.
Yeah, it's not real. I know that street, though. I know that block in Beverly Hills that she used.
How weird is that?
I don't know why they're doing this on a daytime talk show.
Let's keep it running. Look at it. She's dressed like Colonel Sanders. Not Colonel Sanders. She's dressed like Sergeant Pepper.
This guy looks like a member of her staff.
What kind of outfit is she wearing?
I don't know. She wears those weird, like, militant, lesbian.
This story is not just about one uncomfortable interview. It is about the collapse of one of television's most polished public images. For nearly 2 decades, Ellen controlled the room. She controlled the joke. She controlled the tone. She controlled the audience reaction. But in that Dakota Johnson moment, something changed. For the first time, viewers watched someone refuse to play along. And once that clip went viral, it became connected to something much bigger. Years of rumors, former staff allegations, industry whispers, and claims that Ellen's famous Be Kind brand didn't always match the reality behind the scenes.
All these celebrities who've pledged to flee America if Trump wins. Well, Trump has won, and won convincingly. And we do have a name who's apparently left the country. Ellen DeGeneres, former TV star, and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly, Kinsey, moved to the UK following Trump's re-election. Is this the reason they moved? Because we had another story about 3 or 4 days ago where a celebrity had moved, but then it turned out that they had moved years earlier and had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
This is a recent move. This is not necessarily because of Trump, but I think the shift, they wanted the House previously, but I think the shift full time is because of Trump. Remember that we actually discussed this, Ellen's Instagram, where she had that picture of Kamala and she was like, can't wait for you to be our first female president, and all the negative reaction she received. She's devastated about this win. And according to TMZ, she has moved 2 hours outside of London. And all I have to say is, the second that those Londoners and people in the UK realize that she is buddy-buddy with Meghan Markle, it's going to go over like a turd in a punch bowl. They're not big fans of Meghan Markle over there, so she might want to keep that on the low.
Yeah, I would do that, and obviously her reputation isn't what it once was. The way her show ended and all those allegations that came out from people who worked with her. So yeah, she's no longer the golden girl, that's for sure.
But critics quickly pointed something out.
This clip became so powerful because it looked like a live correction. Ellen tried to frame the moment one way. Dakota calmly corrected it. And that matters because Ellen's entire show was built around control. The guest was supposed to laugh. The audience was supposed to clap. The moment was supposed to stay light. But Dakota changed the energy. Suddenly, Ellen wasn't the person guiding the joke. She was the person being challenged by it. And not one small moment gave the audience permission to look at Ellen differently.
That Ellen DeGeneres' stage set is exactly the same as on Epstein Island, with all the couches, the same colour, the same soft furnishings, palm trees, window, everything to the T. And I'm like,
really?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, we're getting some up now.
Getting some up now on our screen.
Yeah, there's palm trees. You're right.
But look at the backdrop behind her, striped building.
No, Emma, there's
palm
nothing
trees.
to see here.
So don't berate her.
I'm not berating. I'm just saying.
I'm going to look further.
What made these theories?
Day too. So we went there and you take a boat. You get on a boat. You cruise down. Went over to their house. They made us homemade pizza, and it was an amazing time. I sat next to Bono. It was a good day.
That is a good day.
To celebrity guests.
After that, the internet began connecting dots. A comedian named Kevin T. Porter posted online asking people to share stories about Ellen being allegedly mean. That post triggered a wave of responses. Some stories were small. Some were strange. Some were impossible to verify. But the volume was impossible to ignore. People began talking about alleged rules, alleged backstage tension, alleged fear among staff, and claims that people who worked around Ellen did not experience the warmth that viewers saw on television. That was the moment Ellen's image problem stopped being about one awkward interview. It became about a pattern.
20 that some furniture on Wayfair had human names and prices well over what the furniture piece would be worth. Think $9,000 for a wooden table. The furniture had similar photos with just different girls' names and different pricing. Would a global trafficking ring really use Wayfair.com as their front, given it's literally hidden in plain sight?
No, I remember that. I fully believe that.
Me too.
I'm sorry, okay.
It was an Ashley table for 20 grand.
The names, if there was like something where the code of the product, you look it up, and then it was literally the code of a missing person with the same name. So like, for example, if it was the Ashley table and then the SKU number on the Wayfair website, you look it up, it's like Ashley Fernandez, missing since whatever.
Literally in plain sight.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Okay.
And why is it so expensive?
And the people that are like, okay, would Wayfair really use that as like a front for human trafficking? You guys are stupid. Why is the Ashley table $13,000 when the same table is on there for $90?
Riddle me that, Wayfair.
Or the people that are doubting it. It's like,
100%.
explain that then.
No, 100%.
Literally explain it, because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. There weren't one. There was like 40 products.
Yeah, and it was like pillows for like $20,000.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That was wild.
And I fully believe that. I can't believe that nothing ever happened from that.
No, me either.
And I remember Wayfair came out with like a super snarky remark of like, this is stupid, basically. Just like gaslighting everyone. And I'm just like, I don't believe you for a second.
These claims spread widely.
Tim Dillon's tone is obviously extreme comedy, but the reason the joke landed is because it reflected a real public suspicion. How could someone who preached kindness so loudly be followed by so many stories saying the opposite? That contradiction became the center of the backlash. People can forgive a celebrity for being imperfect, but they do not like feeling deceived. And Ellen's problem was that her brand wasn't just comedy, it was morality. She didn't just sell entertainment, she sold kindness. So when former staffers and insiders started describing fear, tension, and discomfort, the backlash felt personal to the audience.
Facing new allegations this morning of rampant sexual misconduct and harassment in the workplace. The new accusations reported by BuzzFeed News come just 2 weeks after another article on the site detailing a racist and toxic work environment. DeGeneres responded Thursday before the new article was published, apologizing and taking responsibility for what happens at the show. Warner Media is also conducting its own internal investigation. Jamie Yukis has more on the allegations.
Dozens of former staffers of the Ellen DeGeneres show, which is known for promoting kindness,
When I say be kind to one another, I really mean it.
are sharing new details about alleged inappropriate behavior behind the scenes by senior managers. Christy Yandoli with BuzzFeed News broke the story.
So former employees who worked on the Ellen show told me that they experienced a range of harassment and misconduct and witnessed a range of it, from explicit comments to behavior and inappropriate, unwanted advances.
Before the articles released Thursday night, the show was already facing scrutiny after several former staffers described a culture of racism, fear, and intimidation in an earlier BuzzFeed article. Employees told the publication they were fired after taking medical leave or bereavement days to attend family funerals. Another former employee said she walked off the job after becoming fed up with comments about her race.
She said a head writer came up to her at a party and said, "Oh, I only know the names of the white people who work here."
In a letter to her staff, obtained by CBS News Thursday, DeGeneres said she'd hoped the show would be a place of happiness, where everyone would be treated with respect, and was disappointed to learn that this has not been the case. She also said the show was taking steps to correct the issue.
This is where the story gets deeper. Joe Rogan wasn't just reacting to internet rumors. He mentioned Greg Fitzsimmons, a comedian and former writer on Ellen's show. According to Rogan, Greg had already told him years earlier that the backstage reality was not as warm as the television image. That detail matters, because when random people online say a celebrity is fake, it can be dismissed as gossip. But when someone who worked inside the machine describes a darker environment, the story becomes harder to ignore. Greg's comments gave the Ellen backlash something more powerful than online speculation. They gave it an insider angle.
Your relationship with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. In October, you told the New York Post with colorful narration that the last time you saw Jeffrey Epstein was in 2005 when you took a tour of his house, which happened to be right next door to yours. You claim you and your wife were so grossed out by this disgusting person, you swore you would never go back. But when the Epstein files came out, it turned out that was a lie. You were forced to admit that you had visited Epstein's private island in 2012, 4 years after Epstein pled guilty soliciting a minor for prostitution.
On the surface, Greg's story sounds like a silly talk show bit, a costume, a holiday gag, a funny moment for the audience. But Greg's point was not really about the costume, it was about the power dynamic. When a boss asks an employee to do something embarrassing on camera, is it really a choice? That line, "it wasn't a request," reveals the kind of pressure that can exist behind a polished entertainment show. What looks fun to the audience can feel very different to the person being used for the joke. And this is where Ellen's public image began to collide with workplace reality.
The Ellen situation. Yeah. You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And everybody, whoa, I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
That line is one of the strongest statements in this entire story. People don't do their best work when they're treated cruelly. They work out of fear. And that is exactly what Ellen's critics argued. They said the show may have looked joyful on screen, but behind the scenes, some people allegedly felt afraid to speak up. Former staffers described feeling watched. Some claimed they were treated as replaceable. Others said the workplace culture did not reflect the kindness Ellen preached publicly. And once again, the issue became bigger than Ellen being rude. It became about leadership. Because on any show, the person at the top sets the tone.